Welcome back. In the last video, we talked about finding inspiration as well as materials. Now let's look at ways to have students explore fiber arts materials and techniques in their sketchbooks. So I found for students, just like when we're teaching them other art forms, it's important for them to have a place to experiment and explore, and they can do this right in their sketchbook. So for example, in here, this sketchbook is full of paper weaving. And I know sometimes we think of paper weaving as something that we only do in elementary school, but it can be as simple or as complex as you want it to be. And the sketchbook is a great place for students to start to explore it. And I'll show you some ideas of how I've built some of these different warps in the sketchbook. Even looking at on this page where several weavings are on top of each other so that we can start to look at how do colors impact each other. Or coming into these pages where each page has a little woven window and the colors as the pages turn start to impact and overlap each other. Can be a really fun way for students to learn to explore. An example of how we make those warps in this sketchbook, on this page, I actually started by, I don't really know what these are to be honest with you, but they're little fun transparent pieces of paper. So if you find maybe you have old transparencies or just kind of fun translucent paper, it makes really interesting color designs that we tape down with packing tape. And then just using a ruler, go ahead and measure out whatever width you want your strips to be, and then cut those strips. So you can see all of these strips are cut, so they're ready to weave. So we have our own little mini loom, and this would be our warp. So our warp is going up and down, and then we can use our other strips that really could be anything for students to start to create their paper weaving. And this is a great way for them to start to think about how can they actually create patterns, and just how do the materials interact with each other. It also can just be a really kind of soothing, fun way for students to work. So this can be a place for students to create mini studies and start to experiment a wide variety of weaving structures. Another thing that you can explore is actually sewing warps right into your sketchbook. So in this one, the warp was created by putting in little mini chads and then wrapping the yarn around it to create the warp. But you could also take a needle and thread like I've done in these and just sew. Again, you're just sewing straight lines, and that's going to help hold the rest of the pieces in place. And then these are created with organic shapes being woven in or kind of held behind the threads. So that can be another fun way for students to explore in their sketchbook. And so I would really encourage you to just keep thinking about what other things can students do on paper that would still relate to fiber arts, knowing that you can sew into your paper and you can make a wide range of looms. So helping students to understand that they can do much more than just draw in their sketchbooks is a really great way to help them push their ideas forward and encourage them to explore new materials and techniques. So I'm excited to share ideas about how you can incorporate fiber arts into your existing curriculum without doing a lot of extra work or making sweeping changes.